Hi everyone, it's me again. I'm back with another video. This one is going to be more of a discussion. Yes, I will be giving out some advice videos, but I don't really consider them advice because I'm literally so young and I don't really know that much. I'm just kind of more discussing, and I just kind of want to attract people who are like-minded. This video is not really going to be about any, so it has nothing to do with that. But as I said, I just want to attract people like me, young people in their 20s, who have bigger goals and have bigger aspirations in life rather than just go to school. And obviously, that's also a big aspiration, but I'm just saying more than just go get a normal job. And not to say that everybody else is doing that, but I'm just saying, like, if you know what you're like, if you have a big dream and like if you were to tell somebody it and the big look be like, you're not doing that, that's the type of people I'm trying to attract. I had a blooper. We're going to be talking about feminism versus classiness and feminism / kind of trashiness, quote unquote. So what prompted me to create this video was a video I saw about a few months ago on TikTok. And I know y'all, TikTok kind of has made me, specifically with these more discussion videos, it's kind of prompted me to make these discussion videos because I see a lot of things on there that, give me ideas to talk about things. And I'm sorry, y'all, I have been using TikTok less. Like, I have a whole time limit on my phone, and I just think it's not a good place to be on because it's literally so negative. Like, so negative. But that's besides the point. Anyways, this woman made a video discussing how, I guess she called herself a classy woman, and I guess by what society standardized, she had classier dressing, whatever. But she was just talking about how things that she does as a classy woman. And so some of the things that I was just like, okay, like, it's kind of weird because it's kind of giving, like, you think you're better than other women for certain things. And some of the things that stuck out to me were, like, she said she doesn't mention anything that has to do with, like, the bathroom or farting or periods or anything like that. And she also, and it's just, like, the fact that, and it was other things I can't really remember on the top of my head. But the thing is, to me, and not even to me, it's just, we all know as women, it doesn't matter how much, it doesn't matter what you're wearing. It doesn't matter whatever the case may be. Men are still going to sexualize you and view you as a woman and as a sexual object. If that's your objective, to not be viewed as a sexual object, and obviously they were talking about, I wear really modest clothing, I would never show my skin and this and that. If that's your objective, it's not really working. There's nothing wrong with being classy. I am not bashing anyone who's classy. There is no issue with that. Obviously, women should have the freedom to do with whatever they want with their life. I'm trying to say that's the whole point. I feel like it clashes with feminism in the fact that, classiness in that, and I guess in that, like, kind of corner of the way that she was describing it, is really conservative. It's literally forcing women to basically it's still pandering to men. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's like they're trying to escape that, but in essence, they're really going back to it because literally this whole idea of being modest and this and that, and it almost gets to a sense where, like, I'm trying to say, and they're playing hard to get, you're kind of feeding into a man's sexual fantasy because either, I'm trying to say, some men, obviously they want the, easy whatever because it's easy. And then also there's the kind of hard to get. I'm not telling women how to get men, but it's like, okay, so this whole kind of idea of just like, I'm trying to say, of being modest and not letting him see you until you, like, what I'm trying to say? It just kind of makes it also feed into that kind of male sexual desire, in my opinion, at least. And I said, these are discussions. You can disagree with me. And as I made videos, and I'm going to make a video on how you don't have to always take advice from other people. Like, if you don't agree with me, that's cool. But that doesn't mean don't watch all my videos because of one bad take. I'm trying to say, we may not agree with this, but, we might be able to agree on other things. But as I was saying, it's just like, it just gives this whole, like, idea. And to me, it literally adds to kind of like conservatism and how women, quote unquote, should be. And I don't like that, and I don't like how also it's kind of this idea of no farting, no this. And it makes, I'm trying to say, and it also adds to that whole, I'm saying, adding to the male fantasy because it upholds this idea that women are these above human, perfect beings who are supposed to be perfect and only like in front of, I guess, specifically in front of men. Like, we're not supposed to discuss things like that because we need to be perfect and perfect for the men and all this and that. Like, when in actuality, we fart, we do all those things. We're still human. And that's my thing. Like, I feel like being too classy is bad. And also, I would argue, I mean, that's just opinion. I don't care if a woman is being really trashy, as long trashy, I like to say quotations because I don't really like that word. I just feel like, because we all know as it can add into racism, you know, in colorism as well. So I don't really like that term. But, you know, just specifically, like, I don't mind if you have all your booty cheeks out and we're at the club, that, and we're in an all adult space. Okay, that is totally fine. But it's not okay to be having your booty cheeks out at Disneyland. That is inappropriate. You're in front of children. That's weird. You know, that's what I have an issue with. You know, it's just, if it's an appropriate setting, if we're in an adult setting where people, you know, I'm trying to say, you're supposed to dress sexy. You're supposed to dress like that. And I mean, it's okay to dress like that because we're in an all adult setting. Okay, I don't care. That's not my issue. I'm not about to tell a woman what to wear because and that's what I feel like. Women should be able to wear whatever we want to. And the thing is, people are like, oh, well, you're just asking for attention then. Men will literally, and that's why they literally have in those sexual assault museums and everything, literally children's clothing, because they will do it to children. And the thing is, and that's why I don't really care for that whole argument of, oh, men are just being a quote unquote, I don't like the word female, being a female or a woman alone, no matter what age you are, is enough for a man to sexualize you. Just that on its own. You don't need to wear anything. You don't have to do anything. Literally, you just have to be a woman existing, and that is enough for a man to sexualize you. Now, it doesn't apply to any man. It's just the male population in general. One of them will sexualize you just because you're a woman. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. So that whole, what you wear, this and that, women by default are viewed as sexual objects by some men. That's just what it is. And we can't really change that. You know, I'm trying to say, we can work against that and protect ourselves and try to, you know, but there's really nothing we can do but hopefully raise the future generations better. And it really does start with the men. But obviously, as women, we should be doing things to protect ourselves either way. You know what I'm trying to say? And we shouldn't also, I don't think it's all men, and it is a lot of them, obviously, but obviously, you know what I'm trying to say, these people who are predators and weirdos, those are people who are sick in the mind. Those are people who need to be arrested. It's like killers and stuff, but it's also kind of just the way society is kind of structured that kind of makes it not okay, but kind of makes it just not as bad and a little bit more normalized than it, not even, makes it normalized when it should not be at all, you know? So yeah, and that's the thing. It's just, and obviously, you know, there's nothing wrong with wearing any type of clothing you want to. And that's the whole point of, you know, feminism. It's being a woman in any way that you want to, you know. And that's why I think this whole, sometimes, not every classy, but it's just like when you get to the point where, oh, I don't do this, I don't do that. Like, it's kind of just like, oh, okay, like, cool, like, girl, like, okay. Because the thing is, it's like, at the end of the day, as I said, we're humans, and I don't think that, and some boys, and especially men who do not go around, they don't perceive us in the same way that they do. And I'm not trying to say that that we should be pandering to the male gaze. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just meaning in the sense of, it upholds the idea that we're not human in the same way, and that idea kind of is, you know, pushed around a lot. And so I just feel like it's just silly to just, you know, and obviously I don't mind if you don't want to do that, but it's just an issue whenever you come around, because as I said, I don't think anybody's wrong for living their life and doing, if you don't want to say cuss words or do this and that, but you're not better than any other person for not doing that, and nobody's wrong for doing, if they're doing against what you think. And that's kind of like my whole thing about it. But I am saying that some of these things do, I'm not saying anyone's wrong for that. Because as a woman, you know, if you want to live your life like that, that is you. You know what I'm trying to say? That's you. You do what you need to do, whatever that takes. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not bashing anyone. I'm not saying that anyone's wrong for doing so. But I'm just saying it's just a little weird when you come on and act like you're better than everybody else because you don't do those things. You know, that's just it. But anyways, I hope somebody agrees with me and people don't attack me, please. But YouTube is way nicer than I'm not posting these on TikTok. I mean, I might. I don't really care, but whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just my opinion. Hopefully some people can agree with me and kind of understand where I'm coming from. I'm sorry if I'm bad at explaining things. But anyways, I will see y'all all later. Bye.